Is a whale a fish?
That's a very good question, Jimmy. We'll answer that by first looking at what a fish is. So, Jimmy, what makes a fish a fish? A fish, as we know, lives underwater, and so does a whale.
So they are the same.
Well, maybe you'll think differently if you keep listening. A fish is very specialized to be able to breathe underwater. This is because of its gills. A fish breathes by taking water into its mouth and forcing it out through the gill passages. As water passes over the thin walls of the gills, dissolved oxygen moves into the blood and travels to the fish's cells.
So how does a whale breathe?
What a great question. Did you know that whales actually have lungs?
Really?
Yes. Have you ever seen a video of a whale coming up to the surface of the water and expel water from their blowhole? Well, they come to the surface of the water to breathe out the old air and to breathe in new oxygenated air.
So a fish gets its oxygen from the water and a whale gets its oxygen from the air.
That's right, Jimmy.
What else is different between a fish and a whale?
Well, young Jimmy, a fish has scales, but a whale doesn't. They actually have little amounts of hairs covering their skin. One other big difference between whales and fish are that fish lay eggs, and whales give birth to live young. Finally, whales and fish have very different ways of feeding their young. Fish usually get food for their babies to eat, but whales produce milk which they suckle.
So fish and whales are very different.
Yes, fish is actually its own classification of animal, whereas a whale is actually part of another classification.
What classification is a whale from then?
Well, let's recap. Whales breathe air, have hairs on their body, give birth to live young, and produce milk. Can you think of any other animal that does the same?
Humans do that.
Yeah, that's true. And humans, just like monkeys, dogs, cats, and other animals, are called mammals. So whales are actually mammals, and they aren't fish.